The iPhone 18 Pro Max is shaping up to be the most dramatic redesign since the iPhone 10. And the leaks coming out right now suggest this could be the first iPhone in years that genuinely justifies a $1,299 starting price. But here's what most people are completely missing. The biggest change is not the new chip. It is not the camera. It is a fundamental shift in how this phone is actually built. And if you're planning to upgrade anytime soon, this one detail could save you from making a very expensive mistake. Let me break down exactly what is coming, what it means for your buying decision, and whether you should upgrade, wait, or skip this generation entirely. The first major leak involves the display. Apple is reportedly moving to a new LTPO4 panel with a peak brightness pushing past 3,500 nits. That is roughly 40% brighter than the iPhone 16 Pro Max. But the real story is what is happening underneath that glass. Under display, Face ID is finally coming. That means the dynamic island, the pill-shaped cutout we have had for years, is going away. For the first time since Face ID launched, you're getting a true full-screen experience. No interruptions, no notch, no island, just edge-to-edge display. This single change makes the iPhone 18 Pro Max look like a completely different device. And for buyers who have held off upgrading specifically because of that cutout, this is the generation that finally delivers. But that is not the biggest change. Apple is reportedly redesigning the titanium frame to be thinner and lighter while improving thermal performance. Early supply chain reports suggest the phone could shave off nearly 15 grams compared to the iPhone 16 Pro Max. That might sound small, but when you hold both devices side by side, you feel the difference immediately. For professionals who use their phone all day, that weight reduction directly impacts comfort and long-term usability. Now, let's talk about the chip. The A20 Bionic is expected to move to TSMC's 2nm process. This is the first time Apple would ship a consumer device on that node, and the performance jump is significant. Early analyst estimates suggest roughly 20 to 25% faster single-core performance compared to the A18 Pro. But the real gains come from efficiency. We're looking at potentially 3 to 4 extra hours of screen-on time with the same battery size. That kind of improvement changes how you use your phone. You stop worrying about hitting 20% by dinner time. You stop carrying a battery pack on travel days. And this is where things get very interesting. Apple is reportedly testing a new battery chemistry that could push capacity beyond 5,000 milliamp hours. If that makes it to production, we are talking about a flagship smartphone that genuinely lasts 2 full days under moderate use. Compare that to the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, which currently tops out around 5,000 milliamp hours, but with a less efficient chip. Apple's combination of the 2nm A20 and a larger battery could create a real gap in long-term ownership value. Most buyers comparing specs on paper are completely missing this one detail that could make or break this purchase. The charging situation is also changing. Rumors point to 50-watt wired charging and 25-watt MagSafe wireless. That is roughly double the wireless charging speed of the iPhone 15 Pro Max. A full charge in under 90 minutes without even plugging in a cable. For creators and professionals who need to top up between shoots or meetings, that is a genuine productivity upgrade. Now let us talk about the camera system. And this is where the investment math starts to get really interesting. The iPhone 18 Pro Max is expected to feature a new 48-megapixel periscope telephoto with improved optical image stabilization. But the bigger story is the rumored variable aperture on the main sensor. This would let you physically adjust depth of field in real time before you even take the shot. That is a feature currently only available on Samsung's Flagship, and even there, it is limited. If Apple nails this implementation, it eliminates one of the last major reasons professional photographers still carry a separate camera for quick shoots. The benchmark numbers look impressive on paper, but here's what real-world testing actually showed. And the results were not what anyone expected. Early leaked Geekbench scores show the A20 Bionic hitting single-core numbers above 3,800. That is a 23% improvement over the A18 Pro. Multi-core performance climbs past 9,500. For context, that puts this phone ahead of the M2 chip in some synthetic benchmarks. But synthetic benchmarks do not tell the full story. In real-world video exports using ProRes 4K, early testing suggests rendering times drop from around 4 minutes on the iPhone 16 Pro Max to under 3 minutes on the iPhone 18 Pro Max. For creators exporting multiple projects per day, that time savings adds up fast. For gamers, the GPU improvements mean consistent 120 frames per second in titles like Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail, even during heavy combat scenes. Right now, even the best Android flagships struggle to maintain that level of performance without thermal throttling. And that brings us to the one question every buyer needs to answer. Is this worth the price? Current estimates place the iPhone 18 Pro Max at $1,299 for the base 256 gigabytes model. That is a $100 increase over the iPhone 16 Pro Max launch price. Apple is reportedly justifying that increase with the new display technology, the 2nm chip, and the larger battery. But here's how to think about that investment. If you keep your phone for 3 years, which most premium buyers do, that $1,299 breaks down to roughly $36 per month. For a device that handles professional photography, 4K video editing, console-quality gaming, and all-day productivity, that math makes sense. Compare that to the Google Pixel 10 Pro, which is expected to launch around $1,099. You save $200 upfront, but you lose the 2nm efficiency, the variable aperture camera, and Apple's industry-leading software support. The Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra will likely compete directly at the same $1,299 price point. But Samsung's software support typically ends after 4 major OS updates. Apple is now pushing 7 years. Over the life of the device, that difference in long-term value becomes significant. So after looking at everything, the performance, the price, the competition, here is who should actually buy this right now. And here is who should definitely wait. If you're on an iPhone 14 Pro Max or older, this is your upgrade. The jump from A16 to A20, from a notch to full screen, from 2000 nit brightness to 3500 nits. That is a generational leap you will feel every single day. If you are on an iPhone 15 Pro Max, the decision is harder. You are getting meaningful improvements across the board, but none of them are individually transformational. Unless the camera upgrades directly impact your professional work, you might consider waiting 1 more year. If you're coming from a Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra or a Google Pixel 9 Pro, the iPhone 18 Pro Max is the strongest case Apple has made in years for switching ecosystems. The combination of hardware, software, and long-term support creates real upgrade value for power users. For casual users who mostly browse, stream, and text, this phone is overkill. You would be paying a $500 premium for features you will rarely use. The standard iPhone 18 will deliver 90% of the experience at a much lower cost. For creators, photographers, videographers, podcasters, this is the best smartphone investment you can make in 2026. The camera system, the processing power, and the battery life all directly support professional workflows. For gamers, the A20 Bionic is the most powerful mobile chip on the market. If mobile gaming is a serious part of your routine, this phone delivers a flagship experience no Android device currently matches. Here is the bottom line. The iPhone 18 Pro Max is not just an upgrade. It is a redefinition of what a flagship smartphone should be in 2026. The full-screen display, the 2nm chip, the 2-day battery life, the professional-grade camera, every piece comes together into a device built for long-term ownership. At $1,299, it is a smart investment for anyone who depends on their phone for work, creativity, or serious entertainment. But before you make your final decision, there is one more development coming that could change the entire picture. Apple's foldable iPhone is reportedly closer than anyone expected. We are covering that full breakdown next.